What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're brand new here, welcome to Entrepreneurship. My name is Matt Wacek. I'm the founder of Entrepreneurship. Basically, it's a big community of lawn, landscape, and snow business owners, as well as irrigation, tree services, those types of companies. And if you don't know my whole story or anything like that, I'll link down below to the super in-depth story and business background, all that type of stuff. But my first business was MJW Landscape Contracting. Started it back in 2011 from absolutely nothing and grew and scaled to multiple six figures before selling it in early 2016. My current business now is a digital marketing agency and owning this big community here. So uh, if you like videos like this, be sure to go down below and hit the subscribe button and hit the notification or the bell for notifications. So that way you can come on here whenever the videos are uploaded onto the channel. You can come on here, learn more cool stuff, and apply it to your business and make more money, become more efficient, and overall run a less stressful business. Because if you own a business for any period of time, you know how stressful it can be. So what we're going to do today is I had a lot of questions come up about this, and that was figuring out how to estimate like a landscape installation project, but more specifically a hardscape project. So we're going to be hopping on my computer here in a second and break down basically a project that we did back in 2012. So a long, long time ago, but this is one of the first projects that we had done, and really want to just break down what the costs are that go into creating these types of projects and show you a really rough design. Obviously, I don't use any design software anymore, but actually never really did. I did one design that took like 5 hours for me to work on it, and I said screw it. So I'd rather just pay a designer $200 to do it, and I can be out doing other things that make more money. But anyway, we're going to be breaking down the total job price and all the costs that went into it, figure out the gross profit, and figure out the net profit on the job, and all that type of cool stuff. So let's hop into my computer. Alrighty, guys, welcome into my computer. As you can see right away, we have this award-winning, just absolutely stellar design created by yours truly in the software known as Paintbrush, which is the Apple equivalent to Microsoft Paint. And if you are brand new here, basically, I am not a designer in the least bit, never will be, never want to be, will never claim to be, because I hate art and designing things. I'm not good at it. And rule number one in business is if you're not good at something, hire someone that is good at it to do that for you, because that can get done way more efficiently and effectively, and you can focus on the tasks that you're good at and are going to move your business forward. So long story short, I spent like 10 hours trying to do one design back in early 2013, and I sucked at it. It didn't look good at all, and it was just a disaster. And I realized, okay, I could have spent that time meeting with like 6 or 8 people. That would have turned into and by people I mean prospective clients, and that would have turned into a bunch more money rather than trying to save $300 on a design. So just be aware of that in your business. If you're not good at designing, hire somebody that is. So for this project, this was done over 5 years ago. So some of the numbers that we're going to see are estimates, because I just couldn't find the data on these numbers, because tons of different transactions that occurred. And I got into the old QuickBooks and looked this up, got as much as I could. But back early 2012, we did this project. The before pictures, which I could not find any of, I apologize for that, but basically it was just one landscape bed right here and then some pretty rough looking turf. And we excavated all that out. The shrubs here were right here, these hostas, and there were some more just perennials over here as well that we removed, set them aside, and then replanted them. So basically just transplanted them for the job. So that way, when you get into the cost here, you will see that there was no cost for shrubs factored in because it was already on site. But landscape bed here, and then the deck, as you can see right here based on the image, or in the house or the garage basically. But just a quick note is that there was a little bit of the patio that went over here, and it was just a little walkway so they could access a spot here, but then also a landing for the deck. But the rough area, or the rough estimate, was about 450 square feet. That's not 20 by 20. I just realized that, but whatever. It was about 450 square feet total for the patio. And just to keep the number simple, that's what we're going to go with. Total job cost was $7,085 to do the mulch work that we did with the plant transplanting and all that type of stuff. We charged $250. So total job price was $6,835 price, or total patio cost to the client was that much. Divide that up by 450 square feet, about $15.19 per square foot. So right about market average for our area where we were based. So this can vary depending on your area and your material costs. Your material cost might be a lot more, it might be a lot less. It really just depends. So also, a quick little note on this project is that when I did this, it was me and a partner that I had taken on at that point in time. And this partnership was a disaster. It ended about a month after this project was done. But basically, we factored in, and the amount of time we factored in, we figured it'd be about $600 worth of labor, or this is what I calculated today while doing this video. Calculated the labor cost about $600 for employees to be on here doing the work, and pay them with labor burden and that type of stuff. So just know that when we get down to the labor section. But at this point in time, didn't own a skid, didn't own a dump trailer, did not own concrete saw, didn't own a compactor. You don't need any of that stuff right away. If you're saying that you need all that stuff and that's what's preventing you from going out there and trying to sell these jobs, that's a false belief in your head. You can go out there and rent all this stuff. The only thing that you need is a truck that can pull all these things. And when it comes to getting pavers and retaining wall block delivered, or getting it to the job site, you can get it delivered by your suppliers. Make sure you factor in delivery costs. But $900 for skid rental and dump trailer brings down the cost to about $6,200. Pavers were about $2,200 for 450 square feet. So the material cost on that was about $4.89 per square foot. On the high end for pavers, most that you will see are, well, it really just depends on the brand, but they can be anywhere between $2 to $6 a square foot. It's got to make sure that you charge accordingly, and that's why you don't want to have set prices when it comes to patios and retaining walls, because some material might be very, very, very expensive and you wouldn't even know it. So take that lesson from me, and we'll have a video on that in other later on, because there was a very, very, very expensive lesson I had learned when I used standard pricing to get a job, and it was not pretty. Did not make much money on that job. But anyway, if you're unfamiliar with the process of constructing a patio, because we're going to get into the aggregates and the wash sand and doing the patios and all that type of stuff. So now for the process of doing this, since we're going to be getting into the aggregates and the costs to do that, which are actually very, very cheap. The hardest part is really just getting them to the job site and making sure that you have enough. But excavate down about 9 inches and haul out the dirt. That's what the dump fees came to. Otherwise, if you have a shop, you can bring them to your shop and set that dirt aside, use it for fill later on, which is something that you will probably need at some point in time. But excavate out, compact the sub base, bring in about 6 inches of class 5, depending on the soil type in your area. Usually the more the better. It was what I always would estimate, because it's just better to have more underneath than less, because you don't want the patio to move and fall apart. So then compact that all down every inch or so. Make sure it's super, super tight and compact. Make sure it's also level with the proper slope as well, away from structures. Then you have your wash sand, screed that out, lay all your pavers, then do all your cuts, put in your snap edging, and then you will see down here we have plywood, one for the turf to cover it up in the event of you want to cover up the turf when you're running the skidler, not to damage it, or you can just totally destroy the turf and then just replace with sod. Just make sure you factor in the costs. But then you will need plywood to cover up the pavers when you are running the compactor over it one last time before applying polymeric sand. So after all the cuts are made, snap edging is installed, which is the edging that facets the patio all together except against structures like the foundation here. You will then run the compactor over every square inch of that patio, so that way everything is nice and flat and embedded in and locked into place, basically. And then you apply all the polymeric sand, sweep into the joints, wet it down twice, good to go. Really, really simple process. Doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It's actually really, really simple. It can just take a long time to do the cuts and the pavers and laying them out, and as well as making sure that the slope is set properly as well. But anyway, black dirt, grass seed. We put down just a ton of grass seed here on this particular property because sod was not available. When we did this was like early April, late March, super, super early. Sod wasn't available for like another 3 weeks. The client was more than happy just to have that, and then they watered it. As you can see, the lawn came back just perfectly, super, super dark green. And that's what happens when you have a client that wants to have a nice lawn. Throw down seed, boom, water it, turns into a great turf area. But then also a few yards of mulch, and then fuel, labor, and so the gross profit on the job was $1,875. Now, a little bit of a bonus that we were able to have is because we had some extra pavers left over, and usually you're going to have a little bit extra. I would highly recommend ordering it maybe not a pallet because that can be like $400-$500 depending on the square footage of it, but that will definitely help you because one, you're going to be making a lot of cuts, and if you make a mistake on a cut, well, then you need another paver. But you can also use other pavers for other cuts or whatever, but you want to have extra. You do not want to run out, especially when it's a type like this, which was a style of paver that was special order only. It was Rochester Interlock brand Heartland style pavers, and our supplier would only special order these because they just didn't sell a lot of it. So you need to make sure you order enough, and that way you don't want to run out, because otherwise you're going to find yourself driving to the supplier's distribution center, which could be quite far away. Don't ask me how I know, but I will cover that in another video as well, where we had to drive about 4 hours worth of drive time or more actually to get the proper material needed for the job because the supplier didn't have it, and I was just not very smart, not thinking ahead. But anyway, we had about a pallet left over, a little bit less than that, and since we broke the bands that came on the pallet, which are the things that fasten the pavers together, we were able to sell it to someone on Craigslist that had wanted it and deliver it to them, and that was about $400. So that boosted the margin by $400, bringing the total to $22.75. So $22.75, divide that up by $7,085, about 32% gross margin. Obviously, the margin, because our labor was a lot cheaper than this at that point in time, was a lot higher than this because we didn't have employees. But right about industry standard there. So now for overhead that we had incurred, it was about 3 10-hour working days. We'll just say the overhead was about $25 an hour. I honestly do not remember how much it cost us to operate. This might be high, this might be low, but $25 an hour is a good estimate, so $750. So you take out the $750 from the $22.75, brings you $15.25 profit on the job. So when it comes to the profit, you got about $1,525, and let's say we factored in 3 10-hour working days of you on site, and then another 3 hours or so working with the client doing administrative tasks, taking measurements and doing the initial meeting, that type of stuff. Oops, not 35, 33. And that's about $46 an hour. Not too bad, especially considering that your guys are probably able to do a lot of the work. And also this is on the pretty low side of things when it comes to the cost estimates and stuff. And if you own the skid loader, the cost of to own the thing for the whole month is probably about $1,000 rather than 2 days of renting it for $600. So there are a lot of different things that can change, especially with saw rental, compactor, those types of rentals. But when it comes to doing this work versus going out and doing fertilizing and weed control or any maintenance service, the amount of volume and profit that you can generate in a relatively short duration is huge, because I mean, where else are you going to be able to make $7,100 in, say, 3 days or so with just 2 guys working and you in the field? And I mean, these projects, it might look, if you're someone that's totally brand new, it might look like this is a really complicated thing. And with this type of paver, actually, it was kind of a goofy like pattern that it's laid. But either way, these are relatively simple to do, and the margins are tremendous, especially if you're the one out there in the field working. And in order to make and profit $1,500 mowing, that's a lot of grass to cut, and that's a lot of fertilizer to lay down. However, the reason you still want to be doing fertilizing and weed control and mowing and cleanups and all that type of stuff is because it produces solid recurring revenue that you know is going to be coming in every single month through the season. These type of jobs, once they're done, they're a commerce type of sale, basically. Once they're done, they're done. Yes, there are the upsells with the recurring yearly stuff with the maintenance and doing sealer and that type of stuff. And we actually upsold this client on doing fertilizing and weed control and cleanups and those types of services. But when you do a patio, it's a one and done type of thing. And when you do, say, rock install, it's a one and done type of thing. I love those jobs because they're big time profit boosters, as you can see right here. But you got to be also focused on the long term and making sure the value of your company still stays high, because if you have a company that just is based on these type of commerce sales, they're not really worth that much in the future. But when you have recurring revenue that's predictable every single month, that is worth a lot more money in the long term when you're looking to a potential sale to sell the business. So a little bit of tidbit of information there. I mean, look at what Amazon's done. There's a reason they created Amazon Prime, is because they needed to have some sort of recurring revenue stream versus just selling products that were a one and done type of thing. So that's today's lesson. Hope you guys like this. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Be sure to go down below also and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, so that way you know when all these videos are uploaded here. And also, if you like this, be sure to hit that like button as well. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.